6 Eastern, our panel of broadcasters that have called the games over the years on CBC. Scott Russell works the game tomorrow on the sidelines. Right now, here he is with the World Gymnastics Championships from Belgium.
Welcome once again to Belgium. This is St. Baf's Cathedral in the city center of Ghent. Hello everyone, I'm Scott Russell, and we continue now with our coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships on CBC Sports Saturday. This cathedral was completed in the 1400s and was 3 centuries in the making. It is a stunning combination of the Gothic and Romanesque styles. It's without question one of a kind. And that's exactly what we're after at the Flanders Sports Arena today. Individuals who in the sport of gymnastics are capable of so many things, and who at the end of the day stand alone and above the rest of the field. For Canada's team, Grant Golding is the man. A moment in the all-around final to shine as an individual. What a chance for Chinese teenager Jing Fang. He's only beginning, and with nothing to lose at the championships. Timeless gymnastics, Ivana Vankov's trademark, twice the world champion, and he just keeps getting stronger. For Canada's Kate Richardson, this marks a return to the limelight, a possibility to find a place with world leaders. Like Svetlana Horkina, if greatness equals grace, she is the sum of stardom in her sport. But Romania must be reckoned with in the person of Andreea Raducan. They say she rightfully wears the Olympic crown. Today, she'll attempt to prove she is worthy, as will the very best. It's the individual all-around final at the World Gymnastics Championships from Ghent, Belgium. Well, today at the Flanders Sports Arena, we get a chance to meet the acknowledged masters of gymnastics. Scott Russell is always joined by Laurie Strong-Ballard. And you know, Laurie, the all-arounders are like a great decathlete or a starting centerman in hockey who plays 25 or 30 minutes a game. These people can do everything, do it well. And today in the competition, a familiar name comes into play.
Well, Scott, my bets are on the 2-time world champion, Ivana Vankov. But he has had his ups and downs in his career. He tore his Achilles tendon before the '96 Olympics, but then had a superb comeback to win the all-around at the '97 World Championships. In '99, he had to pull out on the first event due to injury, and then in Sydney, he was 4th. But right now, he is at the top of his game. His only weakness are the leg events. After 3 surgeries on an Achilles tendon, floor exercise is a little tough. He will have some big challengers. Eric Lopez will try and pick up Cuba's first all-around title. He is strong on 6 events, but will want to clean up his form from the preliminaries. Also, 2 Americans, Paul Hamm and Sean Townsend, can definitely challenge for a medal here. They are strong on 6 events as well, but I'm a little concerned that they will be exhausted after winning silver in the team final. And then, of course, Bulgaria's Jordan Jovchev. He's always in that mix. In '99, he was 1 step from winning the all-around title, and 1 small wobble on P-bars his last event, and he dropped to bronze. So we'll see if he has what it takes to win gold.
And you know, not since the days of Alan Nole have we been able to talk about a Canadian male qualifying for the final in the all-around competition. We have one this time, and that is Grant Golding of Maple Ridge, British Columbia. 2nd World Championships for Grant, and he has a big chance, Laurie, to make a mark here.
And this is a great opportunity for Grant to gain some international experience, but almost more importantly, after a successful team finish for Canada, really to keep that ball rolling for Team Canada.
Grant Golding will start on the rings for Canada in the individual all-around competition, and that's where we'll begin at the Flanders Sports Arena today. Grant operates out of Abbotsford, British Columbia, a hotspot for gymnastics in Canada.
Nice job, so you guys will be happy to watching.
Time for a pause as winter eases into the Belgian landscape. We'll return to Ghent with the women's final in a moment. We're back in the beautiful Gothic city of Ghent, Belgium, and we continue now with our coverage of the World Gymnastics Championships on CBC. It all happens at the Flanders Sports Arena, and we move now to the individual all-around competition for the women. On the surface, Laurie, this shapes up to be a battle between 2 gymnasts, those being Svetlana Horkina of Russia, the 1997 world champion. She won that championship in Lausanne, Switzerland. And then there's Andreea Raducan, the best gymnast from Romania.
And this should be an interesting competition. They have the 4 top athletes seated together where they'll travel from event to event together, and the judges can compare them one against the other. We're going to see two different styles at the top. The pixie-like charm from an Andrea Raducanu against the sophisticated elegance of a Svetlana Horkina. Now, Raducanu is very consistent, but when Horkina's on, she's red hot.
Let's talk about the Canadian Kate Richardson, who is 15th all-around at the Olympic Games in Sydney. Can she be better than that in Belgium?
Well, Kate has been struggling from some back spasms and was a little bit inconsistent during the preliminaries. But today, she was stunning during warm-up and looks confident. And remember, she's only 17 years old, a lot younger than a Horkina and even a Raducanu, so she has a long future ahead of her.
Also competing for Canada will be Ashley Peckett of Mississauga, Ontario. These are her first World Championships.
Kate Richardson was Canada's top finisher at the Olympic Games, as we said, in 15th position, only 17 years old.
The women do two different vaults in the all-around competition. The first, Kate does a Yurchenko layout full. I really like how Kate is disciplined with her landing. She continually reinforces the correct landing technique. Bent knees, tight abdomen, arms out. Increases her chances for a stuck landing, and it's important for safety.
8-9, 8-7. The first vault, the women do two. They will be averaged for the final score on this apparatus.
She looked a little anxious there. She was taking some last-minute cues from her coach, David Kenwright. She'll do a totally different style vault. She'll come on forward, handspring front pike with a half. A little stumble on the landing, but a very clean form in the air. We mentioned her back spasms. This is a vault that she hasn't been able to train only a couple times since she's been here. You can see she's a little off on her timing on the landing.
Very high hopes for Kate Richardson. Her mark on the vault, 8.968. That's the average after an 8.95 second vault. 22-year-old Svetlana Horkina, all-around champion of the world in 1997. Those championships were held in Switzerland. She's back.
The first vault is a tucked Horkina 1 named after her. Solid effort. In the team competition, she performed the more difficult vault here, and she missed both of her vaults. She's made an adjustment here. She's doing the simpler vault first, the tucked Horkina. I think it's a good choice.
Much better result, obviously, than the team competition for Horkina. 9.212 to start on the vault. Has threatened to retire many times. Each time has come back almost stronger than before, and has some sort of a spell over not only the fans, but also the judges. Tall and elegant, and it works for the great Russian gymnast.
She has a very different style than the average gymnast. Take a look at this vault. It's also named after her. Same as the last one, but she adds another full twist. It's a 1.5. Amazing how she can get that to her feet. At 5'5", her technique and timing is so important. You see how high she blocks off that horse to get all of the rotations and twists around.
Big second vault, 9.525 to average out at 9.368. Good start for one of the favorites. This is 16-year-old Natalia Zigancheva, the youngest of Horkina's teammates, and she actually beat Horkina at the all-around national championships in Russia.
Since being here, she has showed some inconsistencies in practice in the team competition. This will be a test for her, starting on beam here. Solid so far by handspring layout. That is a requirement. 2 acrobatic skills connected. She's coached by Viktor Gavrichenko, who also coached Elena Shushanova, who was the 1988 Olympic champion. And I see some similar style. Take a look at this element. So difficult. Standing Arabian nails it right on. You can see her heel is taped. Quite often gymnasts have heel bruises, especially on this event, taking so many hard landings on their feet. Two difficult jumps. She'll gain valuable bonus points. They're looking for 1.2 in bonus, and that there is a requirement, a hold element for at least 2 seconds.
The taped heel that you referred to, Lori, this beam is unforgiving.
Nice routine. Good solid start.
Zigancheva making an impact early in her career. She was third all around at the European Championships. Those were held in Paris.
Here's her required 2 acrobatic elements. Somewhat simple, but it meets the requirement. Clean and solid. But this is a big risky skill. The standing Arabian, outstanding.
And a good score for Zigan Shiva, the young Russian, 9.375 on the balance beam. Here is Ashley Paquette of Canada, 17 years old, born and lives in Mississauga, coached by Alex Bard.
She has a tough opening pass. Double back with a full twist. It's called a full and back out, and that's actually been upgraded in this new code from a D level skill to an E level skill. She'll get 2/10 of bonus just with that pass. Combination of whips to a double pike. Good job. Alex told me how proud he is of her. She's come a long way and now is competing in this all-around final with some of the best gymnasts in the world.
And worth mentioning that she comes from a good background, a good gym in Mississauga. Stella Ume, Stacey Galloway, all competitors for Canada on the international stage.
Tremendous role models for Ashley. See her taking a deep breath before this last pass, and it's a tough one. A combination front through to 2.5 and another punch front. Good job. Nice routine.
First World Championships for Ashley Paquette. She was second to Kate Richardson at the Canadian Championships.
The whipbacks in this pass make it more difficult. It's a back handspring with no hands. She does 2 into a double pike.
There is Alex Bard, and he likes the routine. 8.85 for Ashley Paquette.
Yeah, I cut my foot, kind of got stuck.
Danielle Hippolito of Brazil.
Double layout, holds it inbounds. I really love this routine. It's so intense. Right away into her second tumbling pass. It's a double Arabian, another difficult pass, and she nails it. You know, there's been a lot of hype surrounding Hippolito in the past, but she's had a hard time duplicating what she does in practice on the competition floor. Everyone's waiting for her time to come.
Has come under the influence of former Ukrainian coach Oleg Ostapenko, now coaching in Brazil, and he coached the career of the 1996 Olympic champion Lilia Podkopayeva.
He knows how to prepare a champion, and you're already seeing signs of it in this Brazilian team. She'll do a 4th tumbling pass, trying to get that 1.2 in bonus, ending with a triple full all the way around. Fabulous routine.
Wonder if the extra elements will pay dividends for Danielle Hippolito of Brazil. There was a lot in that routine.
Yes, tremendous difficulty. Take a look here at the 2.5 immediate punch front layout. Timing is key here.
Great results, 9.562. So Danielle Hippolito of Brazil first after the first rotation, followed by the 2 Russians, Zigan Shiva and Svetlana Horkina. Kate Richardson 16th, Ashley Paquette 20th. It is a city which comes alive at the core. There is affluence in ancient Ghent. Our coverage of a wealth of talent at the Gymnastics Worlds continues. St. Baph's Cathedral dominates the town square. Centuries to complete it, remains a cornerstone of Ghent's Romanesque landscape. Traditional powers battle in the women's all-around final. Rotation number 2, and in the midst of it all, Canada's Ashley Paquette.
This is her best event. Lachenko 1.5. She has planned. It's scored out of a 9.70. Under-rotated. Her chest was back on the landing, and she sat down. 1 1.5 twists. This is so difficult because of the blind landing. You don't see the floor before your feet hit. It's tough to gauge how much rotation you need.
Start value there, 9.7 as you said, 8.562 because she did put the hands down on the landing.
This is her easier vault, so she's looking for a clean position in the air and landing. Better job. Remember, the 2 vaults are averaged in the all-around finals. See the round off onto the board. Locking strong off the horse. A slight pike in the hips on that landing, but a good job.
Miscue on the first vault, talks it over with Alex Bard. 8.718 is the average. Leader after 1 rotation, Danielle Hippolito of Brazil.
It's a handspring front pike, very clean in the air, a tiny step on the landing, but somewhat of a very simple vault. We'll have a low start value, nice height. Just that tiny step on the landing.
Stark contrast to the men's competition where the men do just 1 vault. Here you have to be multidisciplined. 8.9, first vault for Hippolito.
I've also noticed, unlike the men, that the women are a little bit more cautious on this event. They're still adjusting to this new vaulting table, doing less difficult vaults. Handspring front pike with a half. She did add the half twist, and that will increase her start value. You mentioned the new national head coach, Oleg Ostapenko. He said that he's going to take his time in developing the skills of this Brazilian team. They are talented, but he wants to take his time with them.
9.212 second vault, averages at 9.056. 18-year-old Andreea Raducan of Romania.
And this is not her strongest event. She tends to have form breaks throughout the routine, but this is an all-around competition, and it's the best after 4 events.
There's her coach, Octavian Belu, longtime coach of the Romanian team. Now, Raducan seemed to have won the gold medal all around in Sydney, but took a cold remedy. The medal was taken away, given to her teammate Simona Amanar. Great disappointment in the country.
And her teammate actually gave back the gold medal once they got back to Romania. She was well accepted by the Romanian people. It's definitely a sad outcome in Sydney. A pretty strong routine here, but a few form breaks, and that's going to hurt her score. Take a look at the intricate hand placement in this combination work. She'll gain valuable bonus points here. She goes into her ginger, which is a release move, a requirement to release 1 bar and catch it again.
She is no question looking for vindication here at the World Championships. 8.862, always a tentative start on the bars for Romania. Natalia Zigansheva of Russia. She was second after the first rotation. Floor exercise.
Nice high, full and back out. You can gain bonus on floor by doing difficult elements like the full in, which is an E-level skill. There's even super E's, which give you 3/10 of bonus, or through combination work like that 2.5 to a front full. So intricate. She's not known for her dance ability, much better tumbler, but she's trying to do a good job staying nice and clean through her dance. Required turn and a little stumble to the side there. Actually, I've been pretty surprised at some of the mistakes in basic dance elements, especially from this Russian team, a country who historically trains ballet and dance basics every day in the gym. Taking a few deep breaths, trying to get oxygen to the muscles for this difficult last pass with double pike, and she doesn't even step on the landing. Boy, she's on today.
And she is the next one in a long line for the great Russian program under the direction of Leonid Arkayev.
Take a look at this combination tumbling pass 2.5, which is a D-level skill, right into a punch front full, which is a C-level skill. Big bonus there.
9.387, consistency across the board for Zigansheva of Russia. Svetlana Horkina, third after the first rotation, now to her best event, the uneven bars.
Horkina has moves named after her on every event, including several on the bars.
That's her longtime coach, Boris Pilkin, in there, taking away the beat board.
You'll see a difference between Horkina and Raducan's bar routines. Horkina connects every single element to the next. Really adds a nice element of fluidity and, of course, extra difficulty. Oh, sky-high dismount, drops into the landing, not a problem on this event.
Raises the hands, delivers the big smile, and gets the applause.
This is the element that she missed in Sydney in the all-around competition. Right on here, not a problem. She heads down to the low bar. And I talked about the moves being named after her. This one right here is a transition from the low bar to the high bar. It is named the Horkina. Very unique.
Score is big again on the bars, 9-5, 3-7 for Horkina of Russia. And she takes the lead, followed by Zigansheva, her teammate, and Hippolito of Brazil. Canada, Kate Richardson 17th, Ashley Peckett currently 24th. The concert hall in Ghent. Now the athletes, tested by the rigors of training, will begin to emerge in this contest of consistency. We're at the midway point, ready to roll with the third rotation in the women's individual all-around final at Flanders Sports Arena. Natalia Zigansheva is in the hunt.
Same vault as Ashley Peckett earlier, the Yurchenko 1.5. It scored out of a 9.7. Good strong vault and a nice landing. See the round off reaching for the horse. The new table allows a larger surface area to get a good strong block. Good job there.
9.287 for the first vault for Zigansheva. Her teammate, Svetlana Horkina, has put some distance between herself and the rest of the field with a great bars routine.
She needs a strong second vault. She'll increase the difficulty here, adding another half twist. So now it's a double twist. Higher start value. Take a look at her position in the air. Legs are slightly crossed. There will be a small deduction for that, but nice and square in the landing zone.
Youngest of the Russian gymnasts, 9.343 is the average after a 9.4 second vault. Here is the leader, Svetlana Horkina. Won the World Championship in 1997, has been trying to get back to that form.
First sequence will tell it all. She was hesitant in the team final. Nails it today. She is in the zone.
No room for error on the balance beam. Horkina knows that. Stark contrast with her and many of the other successful gymnasts on this apparatus. She is much taller.
And Horkina is very gentle and loving to her teammates, but when she is on her event, she is intense. She is all-out diva. She's been with her personal coach, Boris Pilkin, who's 72 years old, her entire career. He's built her tremendous repertoire of unique skills, but his toughest job has been handling her mood swings. She can actually get very snappy with him, but in the end, she's always grateful and shows her love and appreciation. Beautiful line showing her hold element there, a full split, 180 degrees. Because of her height, Boris has had to recreate gymnastics. He's created all of these twisting skills like this gainer 2.5 dismount. Adds such a unique quality to her. Here's another twisting element. One of the first in the world to do this, the full twisting back handspring. That is a D-level skill in combination. And this dismount so tough, taking off a 1 foot, 2.5 twists. Her legs are glued together in the air, and a nice solid landing. That was a great routine, Scott.
Much of the beauty and the longevity of her career. 9.237 on the balance beam. The other great champions you think of, Corbett and Komenich, retired earlier. She mirrors the career of, say, Svetlana Bulginskaya of Belarus.
It's great to see these athletes hanging there. Perhaps Horkina can go to 3 Olympics.
Meantime, Andreea Raducan of Romania chases. She started on the uneven bars and scored down in the 8s, so she's got to come from behind.
This is so great, having the top 4 seeds in one group. Judges are comparing them one against the other. We mentioned that earlier. Also adds pressure, I think, to the athlete. Going up after your biggest rival. You can see a few mind games going on between Raducanu and Horkina. Horkina is definitely giving Raducanu the eyes today. Nice, interesting combination there. Switch lick to a one-arm back handspring, which has been upgraded in this new code of points to a C-level skill.
There's the contrast we were talking about. Much smaller gymnast than Horkina.
Both have very pleasing styles. Raducanu has done tremendous difficulty already, and it doesn't stop. Tumbling into her dismount, not a movement on her landing. That routine was outstanding.
This is where she hoped to make her move. The Romanians consistently so solid on this event.
Horkina was stronger on bars. Raducanu suffered a low score. She'll make up a little bit of ground here, showing a difficult full twisting back salto. And of course, tumbling into this dismount. Timing is so perfect here. She opens for the landing. No deduction.
9-4-7-5 puts her in third position. And here is the score after rotation number 3. Svetlana Horkina, Zigansheva, her teammate. Tabitha Yim is third, but Raducanu is very, very close. Rotation 4, the final event from the Flanders Sports Arena in Belgium. Remember, the top seeds, as Lori mentioned, are traveling in the same group. Apart is Danielle Hippolito of Brazil, who has been consistent throughout. She finishes on the beam.
Very intricate starting sequence there. That really feels good when you nail a mount like that. Like floor, there is a 3/10 deduction for lack of artistry on this event. You'll see many different styles from the athletes. Tough combination planned here. Front tuck. Oh, slight hesitation into her sheep jump, landing with her feet turned sideways. She will lose the connection for that, but will still get credit for the difficulty of those two elements.
Very close to a medal, and that would be a breakthrough for Brazil.
And hear lots of noises and action in the background. It's so important to stay focused on this 4-inch wide beam. Here we go, tumbling into her dismount as well. Round off that handspring, double back, as if she's tumbling on the floor. Nice job.
Been a great competition for Danielle Hippolito. There's Oleg Ostapenko. We've been talking about him, formerly of Ukraine.
Here's her mount sequence, doing an element from the floor, the springboard, up onto a 4-inch wide beam, and then tumbling out of it. Very risky, but she's perfectly on here.
Brazilians have performed well at these World Championships. Looking at her score on the balance beam, 9.375. Currently puts her into second position. The leaders, remember, still to come. One of them is Natalia Zigansheva, the 16-year-old Russian. She needs a 9.512 to put herself into the lead. The proviso, Svetlana Horkina, Andrea Raducanu are still to come.
And Scott, she fell on her dismount in team finals, and you know that's weighing heavily on her mind here. She has to make some corrections.
As the hands well chalked up.
Very clean lines, nice straight back in all of her handstands. Extension is good. Intricate element right here. It's called a Shushanova, and it's named after her club mate, Elena Shushanova, who was the '88 Olympic champion. This is where it gets tough. Endurance is important, and she has to hit this dismount. Okay, a small hop, a tiny bit of under rotation, but she's on her feet. A solid routine.
Interesting dismount for Zigansheva of Russia.
It was a nice routine, good difficulty. You can see a hop change of her hands right there. She does a full pirouette on one arm, back up to another full. This time she comes back up through handstand with a half. No, a full turn. Very nice job.
And gets a 9-2. Good enough for second place currently. Let's check in on the progress of Kate Richardson of Canada. One of her best events, the floor exercise, trying to be better than 15th that she was all around at the Olympic Games.
2 whips to a tough double Arabian, out of bounds there. 1/10 deduction. You see the judge, the line judge, holding up the flag. That indicates to the rest of the judges to take that 1/10. This new choreography for Kate, very original. Judges and fans have really loved it here in Ghent. Judges are looking for that 3/10 in artistic value. They want to be entertained. They want you to feel the music and show beauty and originality in your dance. Oh, big, solid finish. All right, a few mistakes earlier in the day, but a nice, strong finish for Kate.
17-year-old Kate Richardson of Coquitlam, British Columbia.
She has some difficult tumbling in this routine, especially that first pass, but a solid ending with this double pike, a D-level skill for an extra 10th of bonus.
It was David Kenwright, the coach. 8-9-7-5 for Canada's lead gymnast, Kate Richardson. Now Svetlana Horkina, in order to move into first place, needs that 8-6-3-8. And she's on the floor exercise where she plays to the crowd.
Pulling back out, just a little low on that landing. The dance is so beautiful, not overly intricate. She works the music well, and she adds a little extra touch with her eyes and her head. I love this part. There's the triple full out of a whip, holds it inbound. Nice jump combination there. The tuck double gives you extra bonus. It has been upgraded. Hands on the hip, but a little cocky lift of the head. She's trying to conserve energy for her last tumbling pass. Double pike. Not perfect on the landings, but elegance at its best. I think it's going to be strong.
Exclamation mark from 22-year-old Svetlana Horkina, attempting to win her second all-around title. Yes.
Always the actress, playing to the crowd, and they love her here. They love her everywhere she competes. Taking a look at that middle pass where she holds that triple full into this floor, trying to gather as many points as she can. She even uses her eyes to psych out her opponent. This look right there is for Radukin, who's up next.
9-4-7-5. Yes, she'd need to be nearly perfect on the floor exercise to catch Horkina. And she's a great floor worker.
She was World Cup champion on this event earlier this year.
Still, a 9.93 is a huge order given the stringent requirements of the new code.
Even a routine that looks perfect to the average eye probably will not score that high. That's the great thing about gymnastics. Anything can happen. New requirement in the new code of points is a turn of at least a B-level skill. We saw her do a triple turn there, which is actually more difficult. It's a D-level skill. 2.5. Oh, she's off there. Her foot slips out. She saves it from a fall, but steps out of bounds.
Looking perhaps to recapture the preeminence that was denied her in Sydney. It may have disappeared with that step.
Still trying to hang on to a medal. She has to hit this last pass. Double pike, same as Horkina. All right, a tough fight from Raducan.
But it is going to be Horkina, and the Romanian coaching staff knows it.
She had to be downright perfect. She twisted a little early into this 2.5, over-rotated it, didn't get quite a good enough punch into the front layout, and her foot slipped.
Horkina on the sidelines, and Raducan, there's the proof, 9.262. Eventually good enough for a bronze medal. There are Svetlana Horkina, Boris Pilk and her coach. They celebrate the gold medal. Zigantsheva, the 16-year-old, the silver. Andrea Raducan, the bronze. Kate Richardson, 16th, a step down from the Olympics. Ashley Peckett at her first world's 32nd. Atop the podium, the de facto Olympic champion, Andrea Raducan of Romania, bronze. The youngest Russian, Natalia Zigantsheva, silver. And the mature and elegant Svetlana Horkina, tested by time, wins her second all-around title.
I actually felt really confident, and it was kind of scaring me. I wasn't as nervous as I normally am, but I did feel the nerves a bit, and then I started getting shaky and rushed things, and I just didn't stay calm as I should have.
I'm happy. I don't have many words. I'm happy.
Very happy.
Yes, I have now powers.
City of Ghent clicks along as the World Championships move through the center of this historic European community. We'll return in a moment.
Well, what a sport gymnastics is, constantly evolving. But, Lori, one thing is borne out by the results today, and that is that experience can still play a very big part.
Svetlana Horkina is incredible. Just when you think the new code of points is too difficult and she'll never survive, she comes back to reinvent herself and win another all-around title. She is so great for this sport. She has character, style, and beauty. She shows emotion, Scott. She is an actress and an athlete. Now, Raducan was strong, but when Horkina is at her best, you can't beat her. The big surprise here was Zigantsheva, a new face on the scene. In the past, she's been inconsistent, but today she hit 4 events, and that's a name I would remember.
Yes, remember for the future. Apparently the future is now on the men's side. Feng, the young Chinese gymnast, wins it. 19 years old, and that was a bit of a surprise. But, Lori, I don't think that's the entire story of the competition.
It's not, Scott. Ivankov was this close to victory. His tenacity and experience makes him the ultimate all-around competitor. He was 16th after 2 events, and 4 events later, he was vying for an all-around title. That is amazing. I see fire in his eyes, and we're going to see more in his future.
Here are the Canadian results. Grant Golding of BC was 22nd in the men's competition. As far as the Canadian women were concerned, Kate Richardson, 16th. That's down 1 place from her Olympic performance. And Ashley Peckett at her first World Championships wound up 32nd. Our next show is a week from today from Ghent, the individual apparatus.